I'm so excited for today's guest, Andrea Ramirez. She is a spiritual coach, a hypnotherapist, a channeler, and we talked about in this episode one of my favorite topics, which is healing and what healing actually means, how to heal from inside out, and how to turn your toughest moments into your best ones and your worst moments into your healing. And yes, you can actually heal, and we talked about in this episode how you can work with your subconscious to do so. I hope you're going to enjoy this episode at least as much as I did. So let's listen. Andrea, welcome to the show. And as we were chatting before I hit the recording, I was talking to you about healing. And we all hear words like healing in every self-help book is or every like spiritual person. I'm healing my childhood trauma, healing my wounds. This word is thrown around so much. And if you just stop and think about, people might not have any idea what does healing mean. Let's guide people and give them your explanation of healing.
Where there are different types of healing, right? We have the physical healing. When you get sick, you have a cold, and then you kind of nurse yourself back to health. You start eating better. You take your medicines if you take your medicines. And then your body slowly, with its own intelligence, with its own wisdom, starts finding ways to get rid of those viruses, those bacteria, and start healing itself. Then we have emotional healing, for example, when we have gone through certain experiences that have affected us, that had affected the way we see the world, the way we see ourselves or feel about ourselves. Usually it could be in the realm of relationships, not only romantic relationships, but also family relationships, friends relationships, work relationships. And so if you think about it, healing, if you put it, the emotional healing next to the biological healing, our inner wisdom does the exact same thing as our body does to heal itself. So healing is basically realizing that there is a problem, that there is something that is hindering your quality of life, something that needs to be removed or transformed or transmuted in order to empower you to remove yourself from a situation, a feeling, a thought, a sensation that is bringing you down, that it's making you weak, really, just like any illness, any biological illness. And then start nursing yourself back to health by recognizing what's happening within yourself, by taking responsibility of what's your part in it, because most of the things that we feel triggered or makes us triggered are parts of ourselves that we haven't really taken responsibility of. And by responsibility, I mean looked into them and say, where is this coming from? Is this mine? Did I learn this? Is this from my early childhood? Did something happen to me? And then I believe this is the truth. And then recognize part of your responsibility by saying, yes, you know what? For so many years, I believe things were supposed to be this way. And now I'm realizing this is actually hurting me. It's hurting my relationships. It's hurting my emotional health, my mental health, my physical health. Because when we are into a state of stress, for example, our body biologically is programmed to withstand stress for 90 seconds, just 90 seconds. And this is enough to trigger the fight or flight. So imagine us being like in the very old times when we were nomads, and then, I don't know, a tooth saber animal shows up and you have these 90 seconds where you can either fight it or run. And we still have that modality in us now. So when we are shocked by something, when we are angry, when something triggers us, our body goes into this fight or flight for 90 seconds and then it goes away. But what happens with us? We keep on re-triggering ourselves by recreating that situation, but continuing, firing up that image in our minds, that conversation, that situation, relive it. And the worst thing is that if you know that those 90 seconds of stress, if you keep on triggering yourself, if you go up to 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 6 minutes, that will bring your biological immune system down for 6 hours.
Wow.
So that means every time you're stressing yourself, you have to think that it's not only your emotional world that is suffering, it's not your mental health that is suffering, it's your biological body that is suffering as well, because we're shooting all this adrenaline, all this cortisol, and we're sitting on our desks, looking at our screen, being angry, being mad, and that stays in our system. It doesn't go anywhere, and it brings us down. So you could definitely get sick from stress and anxiety. And I don't know if you have seen people, for example, that have very stressful jobs, or they're living a very difficult situation in their home and in their families, and suddenly they go on vacation when they're supposed to be absolutely relaxed and happy and fun. And that's when they get sick, because that's the only time when their bodies relax. But then all of these chemicals, all of these things just start free flowing through your body, through your organs. And it's a way of detoxing from your biological body. So everything is connected. And for me, healing is taking responsibility of what's happening to you. By taking responsibilities, why am I feeling this? Why am I taking the situation on me this way? Not blaming the other person, not blaming your trigger for what is happening to you. A trigger should become a glimmer after you sit down with yourself and start wondering, why is it that you are living that situation in that way?
Do you think people can fully heal emotional traumas? Because I have been hearing both, that you don't heal fully, you just have to learn how to cope with it. And there's something in me that refuses to believe that. Do you think we can fully heal, or we keep our whole lives in coping with the trauma?
I think the problem is that we confuse healing with completely erasing and forgetting, like completely removing that pain from us. So for me, healing is taking the negative charge off of the situation, which doesn't mean you will forget it. But instead of bringing you down, this situation that happened in the past, because you understand it in a new way, because you have healed certain parts of yourself, instead of disempowering you, will empower you. For example, I grew up with a mom that had narcissistic tendencies. So I could identify myself and define my life by that and say I am the victim, and wrap my personality around the role of a victim and go around the world and telling everyone how terrible it is to have a narcissistic parent. Or I could work on myself, realize that it's not my fault what happened to me. The only responsibility I have is to actually work on myself, on how to heal that situation, and not put the blame on my mother, just to say to myself, I did the best I could because I was a child, and she did the best she could because of her history, and go on in life. I will not forget about what happened. I will simply not have the same negative charge around it. I will think about it as something that will help me be in front of a microphone and talking about healing to other people, for example. So we cannot confuse healing with absolutely erasing and forgetting. With hypnotherapy, we can erase, forget, ask the subconscious to protect us from things that have been very traumatic, that we don't need to remember, we don't need to relive, because they can be very extremely painful. So with hypnotherapy, again, we take the charge off of the situation. You can still remember it, but it's almost like watching a movie without sound, or listening to only the sound of a movie without the images. Our subconscious will choose what is the best for each one of us when it comes to healing traumatic situations. And then the rest is up to us. Again, healing is responsibility, is taking responsibility. So, okay, I'm healing this now. What am I going to do? Maybe because I've been abused emotionally, I have low self-worth. How is this affecting my relationships, my relationship with my partner? Or if I'm looking for a partner, how is this affecting the type of person that I attract into my life? And so this is when we need to start working with ourselves and kind of making ourselves questions and find ways that best suit us to heal. It could be through meditation, it could be through moving your body, it could be through working with your subconscious, because everything is recorded there. So I always say, if you are going to start healing, you have to do two things. One is to move your body, because trauma is stored in our body. And by moving our bodies, you could be walking, you could dance. You don't need to go to a fancy gym and do all sorts of like fancy workouts or lift 100-kilo weights. Just move your body, release energy, release all that energy that is stored there from the traumatic situation that happened to you. And the second thing is work with your subconscious. And if you have a good hypnotherapist, the hypnotherapist will guide you to find that place where your subconscious will say, okay, so this is how we're going to work on this right now. We're going to take the good parts of what happened, and we're going to transform those lessons into something that will bring worth and value into my life. And the negative parts, we're just going to dial down the volume, make those images less bright and less intimidating. And let's transform our reality by saying that whatever happened to us was kind of the fertilizer now that will help me grow and become a better human, a better person, more resilient person, stronger person.
So when you are healing people, so when someone is, for example, hypnotherapy, is it your energy healing them, or are you triggering the ability in themselves to heal? How does that work?
Exactly. I am simply a facilitator. I am like a coach that when we go into hypnotherapy, we go through different stages, and the first stages are relaxation. So your conscious mind can relax, so we can talk to the subconscious mind. And then I have a conversation with the subconscious mind, and I ask the subconscious mind to work in the best way that is for you. So because you are the only one that knows what is best for you. I cannot tell you you're going to stop smoking, and after you smoke, or if you feel like smoking in the future, you're going to feel like vomiting. Well, you will stop smoking, but maybe you pick up eating candy or drinking sodas because the trauma, the trigger has not been addressed. So we have simply changed one addiction with another. But when you work with the subconscious, and I ask the subconscious to find the best way for you to stop smoking, for example, I ask the subconscious find a way that is healthier, that is happier, that will improve the quality of life of this person, so this person cannot even miss smoking. And this is when the subconscious says, okay, I will find a way that is happy, healthy. I will improve the quality of life of this person. No problem. And then the work change is done. And what is nice is that when I talk to my clients after these kind of sessions, they're always like, oh, now I feel so much creative. And I started writing that book that I put to the side, or I started creating that website that I've been kicking to the side for months, or I pick up sport, or I just feel so happy. I realize I'm drinking more water. And it's things that you would say have maybe nothing to do with stop smoking 100%, but they don't even realize it when they stop smoking, because our subconscious works in such lovely, gentle way that it's not a violent change. It's not healing that comes with more trauma or more struggle. It's actually very smooth and very kind and compassionate. This is why I like hypnotherapy so much.
Is there any way for also us to talk to our subconscious? Because I also have a 7-year-old son. Is it like when he sleeps, I talk to him, or how does that even work? How can we connect to our subconscious, or as a parent, our children's subconscious?
Yes, when we are relaxed, when there is no thoughts in our mind, this is when our subconscious is the most awake
I need
or
to be
the
awake,
most present.
not sleeping.
I would say the most present because it's always there. But we think we function most of our day with our conscious mind, when in reality, we move around our day working around 97% with our subconscious mind and only 3% with our conscious mind. So if you think about it, when you wake up, you open your eyes and you don't have to think, okay, so now I have to put one foot on the floor, and then I have to put the other foot, and then I have to move my body, and then I have to get up, and then I have to put one foot in front and then the other. That would be working with our conscious mind the whole time. Our subconscious mind help us kind of save energy in this sense, because when we learn something, it just gets into the system like a program. So it's repeated, repeated, repeated. If you think about it, when you take a shower, you probably start showering yourself always from the same side. If you think about it, and so that is our subconscious mind at work every day. And when we want to talk to it, it's all about changing our inner dialogue. If you have inner dialogue, if you don't have inner dialogue, it's about changing how we perceive things. So you can change the way you talk to yourself when you are in waking consciousness during your day, or you can also do it on purpose and have like a meditation, a moment of meditation where you calm your mind down, or even after sports, after you do sports or after you go for a walk, just sit down, close your eyes, look inside, feel what's happening in your body. And this is when you can talk. This is when you can talk to yourself and you can say, you are wonderful. I love you. You are so smart. Solutions always come to you in the brightest, greatest way. You can see opportunity. You can grasp the best things that are for you. Healing is easy for you. And this is how you can talk to your subconscious. And the same thing when you talk to your child, maybe right before bed. There is this thing that you can read your child a story. And in that story, you can fill it up with good, positive, empowering messages. Yes. So you can actually read your child in this moment where the brain waves are changing from conscious awakened consciousness to sleeping. You can read your child a book that says empowering words, that tells empowering stories of happiness, resilience, emotional intelligence. You can work with your child that way. And you can also put songs around in your house that are empowering, that are positive, because when people say songs and words are spells, it's true. The more you repeat it, the more real it becomes in your life. So instead of singing songs of heartbreak and being broke and hustling and suffering, put songs that are empowering, that tell you how wonderful you are, how great life is, how you see opportunity, how positive things come to you, how you become more resilient, how it becomes easier for you to take responsibility about what you're feeling and thinking, and your capacity to change for the better, to make your life better, to empower yourself, your loved ones. So we can definitely work with our subconscious in our conscious day when we are awake. And also when we're asleep. When we're asleep, we can put self-hypnosis audios like I have with two other women, a wonderful app that we really, really, really putting our hearts there to help women with their emotional health, with their mental health through self-hypnosis. And the
Magical
best thing
audio.
you can, exactly, magicalaudios.com, and you can just put your headset and go to bed, and it's fine, and it will work because our subconscious is always listening. And
And
that's
you
the
have amazing
magical part of it.
review.
Sorry?
You have amazing reviews from people working in their lives, so it really works.
Yes. And we're very, very happy about that. And so this is why we want to fill our day and our nights with, I wouldn't say only positive messaging, but empowering messaging, words of encouragement that facilitate your change. I don't impose anything on you. I don't tell you how you have to heal. I just open the door for your subconscious and your emotional wisdom and the wisdom of your biological body to find the best way that suits you to heal.
You are doing field of healing modalities, and there are so many others. Do you think any of them, because of our senses, for example, works way better than other? Like, for example, audios. Would it work better than hypnotherapy, or what's the difference, and how can people identify which one do they need?
We all have mainly three ways that we perceive the world. One is emotional or kinesthetic, another one is visual, and another one is auditory. Sometimes, like I know I'm very visual because when I think about something in my mind, when I'm looking for the solution to something, I'm looking in the pictures of the inner eye of my mind. There are some people that when they are looking for solutions for something, the first thing they do is they try to remember what they heard or the voice inside their mind that is saying something or what the other person said or their song they heard. And there are people that are more kinesthetic, more emotional, and when they're looking for an information about something, they are remembering how they felt about it, and they're looking for the emotion that triggers that memory, that triggers that solution, to find that solution. And so there are different modalities of healing because we're all different. And you just have to really close your eyes and think of something. Think of like, I don't know, a pink elephant. And then you see if you see it with your eyes, if you feel how the pink elephant makes you feel, or if you hear the elephant making the elephant noise. What's the most dominant in
I
that
just
moment?
in my heart. I just
So,
felt it
yes,
and saw it, but like almost saw it through the feeling, if it makes sense.
probably visual kinesthetic like I am. I'm visual kinesthetic. We can have more than one or we can have three in different intensities, so to speak. And so, for example, for someone that is visual kinesthetic, you can listen to audios that are about visualization. And you can visualize because the visualization will also connect you with emotion. Look at the beautiful flower. Feel how this beautiful flower is. And this will also make you connect with that nice feeling inside of you, that happiness that lives inside of you. And if you're more auditory, maybe you'll want to listen to words of empowerment, affirmations, affirmation songs. But the nice thing about hypnotherapy and self-hypnosis audios is that all three modalities are mixed into the recording. So when you listen to it, it doesn't matter which one of your rep systems is the most predominant in your life. There is always little bits and pieces that will feed into that way of you perceiving the world that will create that change work inside you.
I've never heard anyone else talk about like how to identify which healing modalities for you this way. I'm curious for you personally because I'm pretty sure you had your fair share of trauma healing and you are still on this journey of healing. What are the first things that you do to like elevate your state?
So when it's something, for example, that really upsets me, or I feel that I'm going back into that feeling that is bringing me down, I move my body.
Mm.
I go for a walk. Or just shake in the same place, or just do sit-ups. 10 sit-ups is enough. It's just to get out of those 90 seconds where those crazy chemicals are flushing on your body, just to get rid of them. Because when cortisol stays in our body, especially as women, it goes to our belly, and then we develop this cortisol belly, this very stubborn belly fat that never goes away. So that's one thing why it's good to like shake it off. And then the next thing I use is I go to the tarot, because the tarot is something that is outside of me, that is bringing me information through archetypes, symbolic information. And then I put the meaning into those symbols. And it's, for example, it's a form of me saying there's no way that I am just inventing things in my mind to tell to myself, oh, everything is going to be fine. But if I'm really lost and I don't find a way in my mind, a solution, a way to go in order to feel better, I take the tarot, I put the cards out, and it's almost like a reality check.
Mm.
Because they talk to me with these different archetypes, with this symbolism, that it's very, very 100% psychologically designed, I would even say. And when that is done, which is basically always telling me snap out of it, I go to hypno. So I get out of my body. When I'm shaking, I get out of this state of fight or flight. Then I get out of my mind by reading this modality that is outside of myself to bring me messages that I give meaning to. And then I go to hypnotherapy to say whatever that is left over there lurking, that is causing me to repeat the situation over and over again in my emotional world, my mental world, my physical world. I would like for you, subconscious, to find a better way, a healthier way to deal with this that will improve my quality of life and that will give me understanding as of why this is happening, so I can be empowered by that and hopefully help others that are going through the same situation. And then subconscious finds the way to deal with it, and it's real fast. Our subconscious works really very, very fast. There are lots of studies about this kind of things, and hypnotherapy has passed from being something very woo-woo to being a legit, absolutely serious and competent tool to heal.
Yes. And how does for the someone listening, for example, because one time I wanted to talk to the medium. And then this medium was like, we can do it through the phone. And I was like, how is it gonna work? And it actually worked. And she told me years ago, stop. I had some questions about my great grandfather. And then she told me everything about him. And then when I asked my grandmother, all of that was true. So it works. But some people cannot imagine how on a distance hypnotherapy or spiritual coaching can work. How does it work?
Well, hypnotherapy, like remote hypnotherapy or online hypnotherapy, works because it is almost the same as if you are listening to an audio, but the difference is that the person is on the other side of the screen, looking at you, observing you, and working with you in a way that is tailor made for you. So some people think, oh, if I go into hypnosis, I'm going to be completely out, like cold. And it's not true. You are always there. It's teamwork. So you are always present. You can come out of hypnosis at any time you need. Even if the internet goes down, the lights goes off, you will come out of hypno by yourself, because you will kind of not wake up because you're not fully sleeping, but you will come back to your full waking consciousness without any side effects or any of that. It is the same as if we were sitting next to each other and I'm doing a session with you of hypnotherapy and then I'll leave the room. It's just you will wake up and you will be fine. That's not a problem. And with the mediumship and the channeling, this is when I'm really excited now because science is confirming everything that spirituality or esotericism or metaphysics has been saying for centuries, and is that time and space don't exist. Quantum reality is where everything is existing at the same time, and all we do is simply tapping into that space of the field, the quantum field, in order to connect with that information and that energy. So if you think about it in like very archaic terms, it's almost like this old-fashioned operator that had all these plugs and all these little holes that you had to like plug one in order to connect with one line, unplug it and connect with another one in order to connect to another line. So when it comes to channeling and mediumship, it's the same thing. You simply connect with the field and then you choose that area of the field where the information is for you to receive whatever messages are there for you.
I think we gave people such a good glimpse into healing, and I personally have gained so much knowledge. And I even had like moments of healing. When you ask a question and the answer comes to you at random moments. And
Yes.
for me, it came through feeling. And also, I loved how the more you were like saying positive words while we were talking about music or telling our children, I felt more and more elevated. So I really appreciate this conversation. But before I ask you my last question, is there anything you feel guided to add to this conversation? Anything that I have not asked you?
I think it's important if you're looking to heal any area of your life that you find the right modality for you, that you give yourself the time to research it and also to get to know the facilitator. I don't like to say therapist because therapists are simply facilitators to put you on the right track for you to find yourself healing. Because what I see is that there is a lot of two things. One is I will take away the responsibility for you and I will activate these magic channels in you and your life is going to become better automatically. And this is simply putting perfume on poop. You never get rid of it. You simply put some smelly, nice thing on top of it. But over time, the more time that passes, the more it smells, and not in a good way. So this is when I say take responsibility. You need a facilitator that will put you on the right track where you can see what has happened, how you have processed the situation in order to find solutions and ways to heal. Once you take this responsibility and you see what's happening with yourself, it's almost like the gates of heaven open. Suddenly you see how you can get over it. So that's one thing, the therapies that kind of take the responsibility away from you. And another one is that there are many therapists where there is a lot of judgment. So if you're already traumatized, if you're already not feeling good, and you go to a facilitator that tells you this happened to you because you don't know how to deal with this thing, this happened to you because you had a bad relationship with your mom, or this happened to you because it's basically your fault. Okay, there are other ways to take responsibility that don't have to do exactly with my facilitator or therapist telling me that there is something inherently wrong with me that cannot be fixed unless it's fixed only through what they are telling me that I can use. So it's really very important when these kind of healers come and tell you the thing that is happening to you, it's because in your past life you did something really bad. Okay, that doesn't help. You don't need to put more weight on the weight that I'm already carrying. We need help. We need someone that can hear us. We need someone that can, from the heart and with the right technical tools, put us on the right track for us to find a way to heal. That is what healing is. That is what a therapist and a facilitator is.
People you spend time with should be good for your mental health and make you feel good. So that's such a good way to add, because people don't think about it. They go to a person, they think they should heal them, but it might not be for them. So it's a really good point that you raised here. I will link everything and your website that has all the information in the show notes, but where can people find you and what are some ways that you are bringing value to them today?
So people can find me on my website, andreahypno.com. Women can access the hypnosis audios at magicalaudios.com. My social media, I mostly use Instagram, is Fortuna Living Spirit. That's where you can find me as well. And well, what I would like to bring today as a message in this podcast is that it is possible to heal. It is possible to heal when we start loving ourselves, when we are kind to ourselves, when we are compassionate to ourselves, when we say, yes, it's my fault that I am maybe overreacting or feeling this so deeply that is hurting. I'm hurting myself more every time that I go over the situation that happened to me. I love myself. I love myself because this feeling that I feel that some things are not really worth it, or that sometimes life gets so difficult, it's because my main wish and my main desire is to live life, to live a fulfilling life, to live a life that makes me happy, a life that I attract all things that are good for me. So when you feel bad, think it's simply because you have so much goodness and so much love within yourself that only because of this that had happened to you, you feel a little bit betrayed. But it's just a matter of working on it. And all this reality that you have in your inner world will manifest in your outer world once you start healing. You will see the people will change, the circumstances will change, things will come into your life once you start healing your inner world.
I love how you answered my last question, which is to leave me with a message, and you left us with a beautiful message that we can heal. And we touched almost like a first step to understanding what is healing and what kind of healing modalities there are and how to choose your facilitator. And thank you so much for sharing this
Thank
knowledge
you.
with us. You have such a beautiful energy. And the moment I saw you, that's what I thought. And thank you for working on yourself, healing your own self, because then it transfers to us, to listeners, to people that you coach through your spiritual coaching and hypnotherapy.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very happy to have shared this time with you.
And thank you so much for listeners. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I have enjoyed it. Have an amazing day or night wherever you are. And until next time.